Hello friend, this is a case of left-sided indirect inguinal hernia and we will perform by extended tape technique. So, here I have put one table to compare the tape versus eTEP. Full form of the tape is totally extraperitoneal and eTEP is extended extraperitoneal. Axis in the tape is usually infraumbilical or subumbilical, whereas in extended tape we do little above the umbilicus or lateral. Working space is more in the extended tape. Port is more flexible, wider port separation. Operative view is also very large, broader panoramic view you can have. Triangulation in E-tape is very narrow, but here it is very improved. Dissection is direct development of preperitoneal. Here first you will go retrorectus dissection and then crossover and then you will enter into the preperitoneal space. E-tape bilateral also flexible, but in E-tape generally it is performed with the wider large workspace. Large complex hernia can be technically very demanding by tape, but in the large hernia extended tape is good. Peritoneal breach is more in the E-tape, generally better tolerated in E-tape, whereas peritoneum can breach easily in the tape. Mesh position here also preperitoneal and in extended tape is also preperitoneal. We do not go intraperitoneal mesh. So, tape is directly developed extraperitoneal space, whereas E-tape is deliberately used for retrorectus space, often in the midline crossover to create a wider operative field before entering into the preperitoneal plate. So, both is good surgery, but extended tape mainly improve space, visualization, port flexibility and ergonomics. The advantages that may be useful in bilateral large or technically complex repair. Technique selection should be considered as the surgeon expertise, but now people are switching over more towards the extended tape. So, in this video I am going to demonstrate you skin to skin how to do extended tape surgery. This is a left sided indirect hernia and we will put the port supraumbilical little towards the left and two ipsilateral port will be used that we will perform for the procedure. So, this is a very easy technique and you will see how to do it skin to skin. The port position, surgeon will stand left, for left hernia you will stand right and the camera person will be left to you and one assistant will be right. You can see A, B, C, these are the three port. B you can put below the A also and laterally also, means contralateral or ipsilateral, both you can do. So, here we are using the two small retractor and all the subcutaneous fat will be separated and then here we can see this is a rectus sheath. So, we will give one small incision over the rectus sheath to enter into the rectorectus space. And as we know that below the arcuate line we do not have posterior rectus. So, automatically your this cannula will enter into the preperitoneal space. So, here after extending it we can see this is supraumbilical and little towards the left. It is not completely on the midline and below is the umbilicus which you can easily see. After that this cannula will be introduced and we will point it towards the left inguinal region. After that you will try to lock it because gas may leak. Here we are not using the commercially available balloon dilated cannula, here we are using the simple cannula. So, to prevent gas leak you can put a sponge all around the cannula and with the tip of the telescope we can start making a preperitoneal pocket. You can see this is the areolar tissue and as we know in laparoscopy always white is right. So, always go to the white colored facial plane and slowly you should try to go towards the midline, little towards the pubic tubercle on the left side and then slowly you will keep it lateral sweeping movement. We should separate the areolar tissue plane to go to the left side. During that process we should avoid any extensive uncontrolled movement And you can do balloon dilator also. We can take a gloves finger and we can do balloon dilator, but even with the sweeping movement of the telescope, it can be easily introduced inside. Now we can see we have reached slowly up to the Cooper ligament, and then with the sweeping movement with the left you can little bit extend, and then we will make a pocket towards the medial also to the midline to introduce our two ipsilateral port. So, here we are using the two ipsilateral port and we will stand on the right side because it is a left hernia. So, in the just crossing over to the midline, it is going little towards the left, from left to the right, so that we can put the additional port, and now crossing over to the midline is enough, and now here it is the two other port is introduced. These two are ipsilateral port and these are 5 port. So, the first port is introduced and this is the second port is introduced. Distance between these two should be ideally keep 7.5 centimeter better, and after that we will go towards the lateral left side, and then we can do the dissection with the two sweeping movement. Here you can see this is a pubic tubercle and here the Cooper ligament started visible, that is the lighthouse, and now this is the lateral dissection, sweeping movement should be done, and this is the inferior epigastric vessel. We should keep the inferior epigastric vessel towards the abdominal wall, and we should try to avoid injury of inferior epigastric vessel, and slowly this plane should be separated. Here you can keep the pressure up to 18 millimeter of mercury also, because in this case if gas is not going into the abdominal cavity. So, there is no risk of pressing over the vena cava or diaphragm. So, even if you will little bit increase the pressure, there will be no any problem. So, now we can see here we are doing the lateral dissection, and this area we can see that this is the sac area which is visible, and now first we will go medial to sac, then lateral to sac, and then the sac dissection. Here it should be directly going to the sac is not a good idea. So, lateral and medial dissection should be performed first. Here we can see this is a sac and this is lateral to the sac. So, this is the sac, and here we are lateral to that, and this is the inferior epigastric vessel which is kept towards the anterior abdominal wall, and this is lateral dissection is going on. So, this lateral dissection is almost over. After that we will go medial dissection and we will check for the Cooper ligament. Here you can see this is the Cooper ligament which is also called lighthouse is visible, and this is the space of Regius, that is the retropubic space is also visible. Below is the bladder. So, you have to be careful that bladder should not be injured, and now we will do sac dissection. During sac dissection slowly you should push the transversalis fascia above and you should pull the sac down. So, this is the separation. Here you can see there is a big lipoma. So, we will take it later, but first we should reduce it, and slowly it has to be pulled down. Now, you can see this omentum is already reduced down. So, there was omentum which was coming into this area, and one of the big limitation of the tape or tap is that content of the sac will not be visible. So, initially you have seen that bulge was due to the omentum which was coming out, and now it is collapse because the omentum has dropped down. Sometime assistant can also be useful to pull it. In the tap, what is the advantage that we can pull the omentum very softly by the grasper, but here you have to push it down because we are preperitoneal. So, now this is slowly here we are separating, and this area laterally you will get the spermatic vessel and medially vas deferens. So, this is the area of the triangle of doom. We have to be little careful. Any hook or any sharp scissors or any harmonic should be avoided, because in between the vas and spermatic vessel there will be iliac vessel. So, that is why it should be very careful dissection. And we also should be taken care of that when you are pulling the sac, then there should not be any buttonhole in the sac, because if you will take a buttonhole, then the problem will that all the gas will enter into the abdominal cavity and a pneumoperitoneum will be formed. So, we can see this is a spermatic vessel which is slowly pushing laterally and then holding the sac to pull it down. During this process, you have to be careful that blunt dissection is always preferred. You should avoid any hook or any energy sources. Here we can see that this is a sac is visible now, and this is a lipoma. So, this lipoma you can pull out, and that will help you to reduce the sac better. But before that, we will try to find out the exact margin of the sac. And now this lipoma will be taken out. Gradually you can walk over and you can pull this entire lipoma inside the abdomen and you can drop it towards the peritoneum. So, slowly this entire lipoma is reduced. So, it is down now. Now, we will again, this is a small amount of the fat which is on the anti-abdominal wall. This is not necessary to remove, just you, if it is disturbing you, you can take it out. Now, we can see this is a spermatic vessel which was laterally going, and slowly you can keep on finding out the sac. So, this is the portion of the sac, and now you have to reduce it completely, because this is a indirect hernia. So, it is necessary that you have to separate it from the pseudo sac, that is the transversalis fascia, and here we can see it is coming now. Now, the margin is clearly visible, which will help you to separate. So, this is the sac which is coming out, and it is not a very big sac, but it is not very small as well. So, slowly we have to be careful that we should not break the vas difference, and sac should be separated, and you should push the transversalis fascia away. So, it is almost out, just few more centimeter. We should take care that all around the defect at least 5 centimeter pocket should be formed all around the defect. So, that the size of the mesh, generally we should select the 10 plus defect, and center of the mesh must be in the center of the defect, so that recurrence will not happen. So, now it is almost down, and we are not breaching the peritoneum during the removal of the sac. The breaching of the peritoneum must be avoided. So, now it is completely separated from vas deferens and spermatic vessel, and little bit more pushed down, so that lower margin of the defect, the mesh can extend down, further down. So, this is the advantage of the extended tape, that you have a broader field of vision compared to tape. So, this is now almost triangle of doom is clear. You have the vas deferens and spermatic vessel, that is clear, and both the structures are visible. You should check for any other structure in between, and this is almost done. Here little bit more separation down will be better, and that you can do that. So, this is also important that any strangulated or completely irreducible hernia, we should avoid doing the tape or extended tape. So, now our almost the dissection is over. You can see vas and spermatic vessel is clearly visible, and the entire sac is completely separated. You can also see the space of radius. This is a vas medially and laterally spermatic vessel, both are, and this is a space of radius. Above is the Cooper ligament, here is the inferior epigastric vessel. So, this is the inferior epigastric vessel. So, you can see all the triangle of Doom, this is the sac and means remaining defect, not sac, remaining defect, because once the sac is taken out, then you can enter the telescope inside the defect and you can examine. So, now this is the mesh and we are using a 15 by 15 mesh, and that mesh is directly introduced. You can open the valve of the cannula and directly through the cannula also you can introduce it. And once it is left side, as we can see, and now you will spread it. During spreading, we have to take care that the mesh must be spreaded all around the defect. So, that center of the mesh should be in the center of the defect, and one of the corner will be on the inferomedial corner, should be on the Cooper ligament. And during that separation, we have to take care that it should not be corrugated or it should not make a bunch. It should be as much nicely spreaded, then it will be better. Another important point, that lower edge of the mesh should not fall over the peritoneum. Otherwise, once you will remove the preperitoneal space, it will fold the mesh. So, half of the mesh should not be over the anterior abdominal wall and half should not be on the peritoneum. Otherwise, it will fold and recurrence will happen. So, this is very important that the mesh should be completely different, because it is like an open book in front. Half below is peritoneum, half above is anterior abdominal wall. So, if you will put it wrong way, then once the gas will be removed, then the peritoneum will fold, and once the peritoneum will fold, there will be recurrence. So, this should be very careful, and we have to spread it keeping the center of the defect in the center of the mesh, and then the recurrence will not happen. So, it is slowly separating all around, spreading, and we can see Cooper ligament is also visible through that, and it is covering everything. It should cover inferior epigastric vessel, it will cover vas deferens, it will cover spermatic vessel, arc of transversus abdominis, LFCN, GFN, all it should cover. And it is now over. It should be, you can see this is the triangle of doom below, this is the lateral triangle of pain, above is the trapezoid of the disaster, and this is the rectus abdominis muscle. Now, we will just use few trackers. Tackers may not be necessary. The first tacker here we are firing on the Cooper ligament, it may not be necessary, but if you fire couple of tacker, this is one on the rectus abdominis muscle fire and one over lateral extreme supralateral on the arc of the transversus abdominis. Just 3 tacker is applied, so that mesh should not migrate, and now slowly instrument will be taken out and gas will be released. So, thank you very much for watching this video. This was just a simple case of the extended tape repair of the inguinal hernia. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.